to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Souk Business Landscape, your weekly getaway into the key developments shaping Africa's economic terrain and its intersection with global markets, from energy dynamics to fintech disruption and government policies to investment trends. We break down the headlines, connect the dots, and bring you expert insights you can trust. I am Olumide Shokoya, and I am surrounded by gentlemen this time. It's not ladies and gentlemen, but just gentlemen. From my left, Chooks John Rogers. How you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, Olumide. Good morning, Priye. And to everyone out there, it's a beautiful day. Let's get going.
Yes, Chooks calls him the fair one. I prefer to call him the perfect gentleman. Onye Priye Komale.
Good morning, Olumide. Thank you. Mr. Chooks, it's nice to see your goggles intact, your face again. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. It's good to be right here again.
All right, let's take a look at what is making the business round this week. Petrol price war. Yes, I said it. Importers are undercutting Dangote Refinery prices, selling as low as 847 naira per litre. Now, Dangote warns that this threatens local investment and calls for protectionist policies. Fintech funding surge. Yes, Fintech led Africa startup funding in the first half of 2025 with $640 million. That's 45% of the total funding. Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa dominated with big raises from Wave Money, Lemfi, and Stitch. Now, 5% petrol surcharge. Starting January 2026, Nigeria will introduce a 5% petrol surcharge to generate 795 billion naira yearly. Now, critics said it will worsen living costs. CNG transport drive. Now, Nigeria has secured $440 million to expand its CNG vehicle program, targeting 250,000 bi-fuel vehicles by 2027 to cut cost emission. Then we move to US-South Korea deal. The two countries agreed to reduce import tariffs and boost cooperation in energy, semiconductors, and biotech, with South Korea investing 350 billion naira. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we will dive into these stories. Stay tuned, it's Souk Business Landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back to Souk Business Landscape. Wherever you are, please grab your favorite drink, whatever you like to, start your day, and let's dive into what's happening across Africa and the global world. Petrol importers have slashed prices below Dangote Refinery's rate, intensifying competitions in Nigeria's downstream sector. Now, findings show some filling stations now sell for as low as 847 naira per litre, compared to Dangote's 865 naira per litre, or to 875 naira per litre for our partners like MRS and Hayden depot owners. Now, depot owners are also dropping prices, with some selling at 815 naira per litre, slightly below Dangote's 820 naira per litre. Ipman's National Publicity Secretary, Chinedu Okedike, hailed the development as the beauty of market liberalization, opposing Dangote's call for a government ban on fuel import. Now, Dangote, however, argues that cheap, often substandard imported fuel, some allegedly subsidized from Russia, are undercutting local refinery, discouraging investment, Now, he urged the government to apply the Nigeria First policy to petroleum products, similar to measures in US and EU that protect domestic producers. Chooks.
Present.
This seems to be some sort of petrol war. Dangote started it. Let's be frank. Dangote started it. He slashed down his price, and now the marketers are, retaliating. How do you see this play out in the end?
Yeah, for we, the consumer, we really want to beg these beautiful warring parties, don't stop. This fight, we really need to see it through. No, you can't stop this fight because somebody has to win this fight. Dangote, they've pushed you, so hey, do the needful. You can cut it by 20 naira. Then they will come back tomorrow and do 100 naira. Let it just keep going. This is the beauty of competition. This is what we want to see in the marketplace. Mind you, more refineries are coming. Then we really know what the value of the finished and refined product. Let's have more.
These are imported fuel. And he is now saying that let's now enforce buy Nigeria first.
Definitely, let's enforce buy Nigeria first. This just like we said, is a marketplace, is a consumer product, fast consuming product. Our worry should be this: the standards that are coming in must not be lower than the local standards. As long as they are not lower than local refined products, we don't have an issue with it. The pricing should be between them and the local refineries. Now we're going to have more refineries coming. Then we have more competition in these particular places. Now also remember that for, what is his name? For the people that are importing, they are going to source FX. If I'm Dangote, what I will be telling the government is this: no problem. But let's have, since we are saying buy Nigeria first, let's have a policy whereby whoever is going to import should go source 75% of their FX outside. Government should only be responsible for 25%. That way we'll have more FX in the hands of government, not going to people importing fuel.
Priya, coming to you. You remember we were on this same table. We talked about when Dangote said Africa is spending over $900 billion on imported fuel. Now, this importers seems to have proven him wrong, but he's claiming that they might be getting this subsidized or substandard petrol from somewhere. What do you think about this?
Okay, so first of all, we will understand that this is business, and the warring parties will look at the loopholes on each other's part and try to, project and amplify those loopholes and try to call the government to make sure that they take necessary steps to block those spaces. What is the argument of Dangote? The Nigerian upstream and downstream petroleum regulatory agencies should stop importation of fuel. Why? Because there are substandard products in the market. That is his argument.
Yes, alleging. That's
his argument. The allegation. Yes, that's an argument that he has placed. However, Okadike that you spoke about is saying that, look, the agency of government I just quoted, yes, they have they have the responsibility to look through and to make sure that there is evidence that people are importing substandard products. Then they can take the required action. But out of that, they have the wherewithal and the capacity to bring regulatory, laws and procedures and processes to bear. So Dangote should not, throw up such arguments. But like Chuk said, let the battle continue. Now, when Dangote reduced his own price, his own depot price from 840 naira per litre to 820 naira per litre, do remember that the IPMAN, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, the leadership, kicked. And they called, in fact, they had a stakeholders meeting and they were dragging the gamut of the NNPCL and all the regulatory bodies, including Mr. President, that, look, you need to come to the table. Something is happening, we do not... And but now, since the government did not give heed to them, they are fighting back. Depot prices, are down. the main price is also they've cut 5 naira, and 5 naira is a lot. Chooks was referring to the margin the other day, and I was trying to commonize it. How much is 3 naira? How much is 5 naira? And he said it's a lot, because when you buy in liters, you have 33,000 liters, and remove 5 naira from each of those liters is running into lots of money. So that aside, why is Dangote telling them to ban, apart from the allegation that he gave? Now, do remember that Russia and some other European countries are still, and they need market, because he is going through the phases of sanctions at the moment. So he need market to sell his fuel, and the importance of going there. Now, so they are taking advantage of that. I would have said they are going to be taking advantage of subsidies too, but they are not getting any subsidy from the government at the moment.
Do you see
so that seemed to be an advantage? Do
you see Dangote being out-competed by this? Is this his fear, or is he actually making a relevant claim?
Well, I would not. I won't say he's making a relevant claim. I won't say he's actually scared. You could see that every party, all stakeholders are trying to protect their domain, to make sure that they are still relevant in the market. So it looks as if now the people, buyers, consumers are the bride these guys are chasing. Now, Chuk said some other refineries and modular refineries too, they are coming up. So by the time they come up, the liberalization is going to be gaining momentum, and it's going to be spreading wide across the country. And when it spreads wide that way, you could see that they are still going to have another war. It's a war. It's a good war that does no harm. So we will advise for it to continue. So who is going to profit? We, Nigerians, the consumers. But one other thing is this. Recently, 4,000 trucks imported into the country. He wants to get to everywhere. So the thing now is reach and spread, meeting the needs of the consumers per time, and making sure that this product is available. And that's one question, rhetorical, I would like to ask, if the competitors are really competing in that part, even though it has its own disadvantage, because myself and Chooks, we've had this conversation outside the face of the camera before. And the government needs to play an effective role that with regards to the Nigerian first policy.
All right, Chooks, coming to you. You said that we are still going to experience new players. How would they be able to compete when there's already a price war on the table? New players coming in. Will they cut down their own price to be able to compete?
Okay. Now, it's only, it's only Dangote that can come out and tell us, which he will not do, the exact cost of a liter of fuel after refining it in his refinery, which he will not do, because that is his business secret. Now, we need more players to come in. We need more than what we have. Even those that we are proposing to come on board, we need more of them. Now, this will be better for us, because now we have more product in the market. The pricing will be more stiffer, because you have to sell. So the prices will come down. We're also looking forward to, now government is, that we've met our open quarter. We are drilling more, sending. We look forward to being able to, government say, okay, now we can drill extra 2 million barrels per day. Now, okay, government just, okay, good. We'll give this refinery this amount, pay us back in this amount, and sell to Nigerians
at this rate.
We are looking forward to all this happening, but it's a gradual process. For these refineries, these are all private businesses. Let's note that we have Africa out there, and 60-70% of African countries are importing from outside Africa. So the market is also there. The market is huge. Those that are importing currently in Nigeria is just a matter of time. It will stop.
Do you think Nigeria should adopt a protectionist
in this particular space?
Like Dangote said, like the EU and the US?
Now, Dangote Refinery is producing about 60-70% capacity. Bill is coming. Watersmith is there. Several others are going to come in. It's a matter of time. By the time these refineries are fully functional, importing will not be that profitable that much. It's just a matter of time. If you remember, there used to be a Nitel that used to do very well. Then competition came.
And it died.
Nitel died because they could not manage themselves. I don't know. So it is the same way. When MTN came, they were charging us 100 naira. Then they started charging us 50 naira. Even if you have drop calls. Then others came. Glo came out. The prices came crashing down. From what is it called? From calls. Now the major selling point is data. Not even calls anymore. So it's with competition, the price will definitely go down. But who will benefit? Nigerians. So let this not stop.
Yes. No, so if you look at it, protectionist laws or protectionism is not outrightly bad. However, I think it's with the current level of revolution in the oil and gas sector. I think it would be too early for us to adopt any of such laws to ban importation. However, because if I said let's not ban, I equally know that Chooks will be looking at me, okay, so when they source their forests, when they source for their dollars, you mean the government should still give to them, like he said earlier on, give them 25%?
25%.
Give them 25%. But it's that in itself is protectionism. Because they are going to argue that Dangote is actually relieved of that stress of sourcing the forex, because if we are doing the crude for naira
policy
swap, yes, the crude for naira policy, which is actually in process, is active at the moment. All the local refineries, they are all enjoying from that.
Okay.
And even though they are paying in the equivalent of the dollar, they have been relieved the stress of going to the market to go and get that. However, also remember that he himself still import some crude, because at the moment we are not satisfying his demands. So it's importing from United States, it's importing from Algeria, and it's importing from some other African countries. So he himself is still sourcing. So if whatever advantage that the government is giving to those who are equally importing this product seem to be going round, even Dangote Refinery itself is enjoying from that. And if the government tampers with that law, Dangote is going to be at a loss too, and also his competitors are going to be on that loss. Both of them are going to suffer that loss.
Can we look at it on paper level? Now remember, Dangote is also exporting.
Yes.
He's exporting aviation fuel, he's exporting PMS, he's exporting diesel. So he's also bringing effects into the country.
Okay.
Now, for these other people that are just importing finished refined product, what are they bringing in?
Great. That's a very good argument. But you also know, like I will go back to what I said earlier on. If you stop them or you make it difficult for them to access these products, then it's going to be obvious that Dangote himself cannot satisfy the whole of Nigerian market.
And
if he cannot satisfy, it's a matter of time. So why not let's us give that space
Dangote is just
for that
player.
time?
Hope you know.
For that time, they
Other
are all
players
players.
are coming in.
They are all players. But can we wait for these players to come in?
We are not saying ban import.
Imports.
No,
Yeah,
we are not going by the way of Dangote. We're only saying as Nigerians, Nigeria itself need that FX that we can save. So whoever is going to import products that we have here already, no problem. Go do your imports because it's personal business. It's making personal profits. But we can only source you 25% FX. The remaining 75%, go find it.
And it is just quite easy for the government. I think the government has a very good understanding of what to do. But the reason why it's not being done,
policy-wise, they should do it.
All right.
Can I
so sorry.
There's a Balogun, just our neighbor here. There is a Dumota not far from here. There is Trade Fair not far from here. 95% of their trades, they source their FX themselves. 99.9% of their trades, they source their FX.
And we do not have a substitute. We do not have local substitute for them to fall back.
All right. I'd like to put this
for
question
them to get that
on the table.
So the petroleum marketers should go and source
I'd
their
like to put
FX
this question on the table. Now that Ojulari from NNPC is saying they are doing a turnaround, they are not going to sell the assets and all that. What stance does NNPC have here? I mean, what do you think they can do with all this price war going on? Now that Julari is saying that, okay, we might not sell the assets, we might not sell the refinery.
We might not. Okay, earlier on it was canvassing for the sale of these facilities. And I remember I pointed some of the big names that were calling out Ojulari and the Nigerian government and the NNPCL not to sell. And that including the human rights activist and lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, was saying it is unconstitutional for it to be sold, that before we can sell that facility, we will need to have a session, a plenary session. The National Assembly will need to, intervene for us to, completely thrash out the legal requirement and all those frameworks. However, if the federal government is not going to sell it, can the federal government, through the PPP, run this? Can we get private hand to just run it? Because they need to work.
Yes.
If they do not work, if they're not working and they're just there, and we keep expending money, that means it will be seen as the government sabotaging its own efforts. If it's not going to work, we are limiting the competition that we are even creating. Because imagine with all the private players and stakeholders coming in, and the government in its own little effort can, through the NNPCL, run these refineries for them to refine products to sell. Do you know that at the moment now, with this new reduction, even the NNPC filling stations are selling higher than the stakeholders who just actually reduce their price? So it's a very good thing for us to see, and not just see. Liberalize the whole space. Government, come in and play and do your own business too, and do not implement the law to favor you, but just let the market run. But let liberalization hold sway, where marketers are trying to cut the attention of consumers. Consumers are being run after by these business people, and you know what? They are making profit.
Definitely.
They are making profit. That is why you could see the war going on. That is why when someone launches a nuclear weapon by reducing the price, there is some other person reciprocates.
All right, so Chooks, in your final thoughts, do you think if NNPC had this refinery working, just maybe they could have even crashed the price, maybe down to 500 naira?
If happens to be a song by Davido. But right now we've seen an NNPC that have refused to really work over time. Reasons best known to them. We see an administration that is out to make sure that government doesn't spend or waste another fund. And as Nigerians, we'll also go further to say, please, dear administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, do not spend extra dime on any of these refineries. We won't support it, and we will shout against it. Just like Priya said, it would be nice to concession those refineries out. Yeah. Let people that have money come there, put their money down there and run it as private business, and pay some token to the government as running government facility. You don't need to buy it out since we need constitutional amendments to sell. Good and fine. Let it be run that way. At least let's have more competition. Let those refineries don't go by the way of Nitel. We've seen several. Nitel is just recent. The sugar companies, the same thing. Bashita and Co. Nigeria Railway is just being revived right now. So we need to see government businesses being run as real businesses. Now, for importers and local product, let's also have this clear-cut tagging. Okay, now we know if you go to NNPC, it is NNPC fuel. NNPC fuel is imported. Except if they tell us that it's being run, if they're getting it from Port Harcourt or Warri, that we are not too sure. We know the pump stations that are selling Dangote fuel. Let it be tagged as you're driving in. You know that, okay, this is imported fuel. Okay, this is Dangote fuel. I can now choose on my own, okay, let me be more patriotic and go and buy Dangote fuel. We need to start seeing that kind of tagging.
Indirectly, you're supporting Buy Nigeria first.
Let's start seeing that kind of tagging, because that is the same way it's done outside this country. Okay, I'm buying GMO, I'm not buying GMO, it's tagged there. This is Texas refined. It's tagged right there. So whatever be the choice of the consumer, let us start saying that. That way, whoever is producing, we know that yes, the consumer is really the king.
But buying Nigerian first would not be informed by tagging. Buying Nigerian first would be driven by price. So if this is a Nigerian refined petrol, if it's a Nigerian and the price is higher, trust me, Nigerians will defect to the other filling station that is selling imported fuel.
So I don't even need to drive there.
Nigerians will be driven by price. But there is one thing that both sides argue that we've looked at, but I think we need to emphasize. The regulatory arm need to watch. We do not want another time where we have imported substandard petrol in the country. People suffered loss when it happened the last time. They suffered huge loss. Like you could barely see vehicles driving on the road and they just stop. And it's not working. The engines of most vehicles went completely because I went out for a report that specific point in time and I heard and spoke to lots of people, lots of filling station operators and lots of commuters, including people who own cars, who own vehicles. And it was not a palatable story. So we should pay very good attention to that. And also, I don't think it's time for us to ban imported petrol.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
You forgot to add the health implications that came with that too.
Yes. All right, so let's move on to our next story. African Fintech startup, attracted the largest share of funding in the first half of 2025, accounting for 45% of total capital raised. Now, according to a new report by Africa, The Big Deal, the report revealed that fintech companies secured around $640 million between January and June 2025, maintaining their stronghold on Africa's startup investment landscape. Now, the sector's share of funding has rebounded after a period of decline, reaching 51% over the past 12 months, close to its all-time high. Now, the biggest fintech deals included Wave Money's $137 million debt deal, Bokra's $59 million, Sukuk raised in Egypt, Stitch $55 million, Series B in South Africa, and Nigeria's Lemfi raising $53 million in a Series B